friend to keep all eyes on ways. Now, in case you missed today's quote, here it is again. A word is dead when it is said, some say. I say it just begins to live that day. So this is very powerful. So because whatever it is, you have planted a seed. A word is a seed that you have planted. So we'll see you live tomorrow. Be careful with the words that you say. See you.
New York City has always been a place for big dreams and big dreamers, where anything seems possible and where immigrants have the opportunity to start a new life with the hope of striking it rich. That American dream is alive and well in Harlem along 125th Street, where African hair breeders start the day early in the streets and on the subway, competing for clients who want their hair done just right.
I love my hair being braided because it's a protective style. I'm natural, so I don't really like to put chemicals. I don't put weave.
It makes me feel like me, you know, comfortable myself.
I can roll out of bed, my hair's already done. Don't have to worry about my hair being protected. So, you know, the braids really do help last.
My hair is almost important as eating and drinking water.
Many American women pay hundreds of dollars to have their hair braided. So it is a lucrative opportunity for African immigrants, many of whom know the braiding techniques from childhood and who often have trouble finding work as new arrivals who may not speak English.
De façon générale, toutes celles qui arrivent ici.
All women who come here, who don't have legal papers and don't know anyone, regardless if they have a high school diploma or even a PhD, they start braiding hair until they can do something else.
African women come here to America, and that may be one of the only things that they can do here. They may not have gone to school, they don't speak the language, but they can come here and they can make a living doing something that they've been doing all their lives.
In a hair braiding industry dominated by women, there is one man who is making it big in Detroit. Salion Kouyate's family is from both Guinea and Mali. He came to the United States 20 years ago with a passion for hair.
My first love is the braid. When I see a woman with braided hair, a beautiful hairstyle, I fall in love. Like now, I am in love with these braids. They are well twisted, they're beautiful. So when my client goes home today, the love that I feel in my heart will be the same love in the heart of her husband. Braiding is my job, and my life revolves around braids. As soon as I touch someone's hair, I start braiding automatically. While braiding, I think about my problems, the solutions, my future projects.
It all started for Salion in Bamako, where his magic fingers made him the star of the neighborhood at just 12 years old.
He used to make dolls out of corn husks and braid them. He could braid any kind of hairstyle.
He could braid any style. He learned a lot during his childhood. When our hair was not made, he was the one who would braid us.
At the time, there was a popular hairstyle called Kara in Bamako, and everyone wanted Salion to braid their hair with this style. He was willing to do it, and for free.
20 years later, Salion's clients say his fingers are still magic.
When he braids your hair, you can feel the love. He's not just doing your hair, he's making you look more beautiful.
This is the first time I had a man braid my hair. When he said he was gonna braid my hair, I said, oh my God, I'm about to have a power drill in my head. But he's more softer than it is when working with the women. Because I done seen some mean women with their mean vice grip on top of my head. I can't even tell that he's in my head compared to the women. Every time he did a braid, I touch the braid that he does, and it actually feels perfect.
In New York City, that perfection and the beauty it reveals can come with a high price tag.
How much you spend every month to get your hair braiding?
90 or like 100. Either 120 or 100.
Oh, I spend $150 to $200 sometimes on the hairstyles that I want.
Oh, these actually got a good price because I knew the person. Between every 6 months, I probably pay an average of $300 to go to the Africans.
It's about $700 a month. So 700 times 12. I spend a lot of money.
You look beautiful.
We see more and more women from various ethnicities that want to braid their hair. White, Spanish, Japanese, Chinese, everyone wants to wear braids.
Before opening her first salon called Soraya's House of Beauty, Hassana Zompaligre had to learn her craft.
I was a shopkeeper in Burkina Faso. I used to buy goods there and sell them to my African sisters here. When I would come in their hair salons, it was always busy, with clients waiting. First, I didn't know how to weave, so they taught me how to finish the ends. At the end of the day, they sometimes gave me $100 to $200 US. I thought there's money to be made here. One day, the owner asked if I could bring her customers. I told her I did not speak English. She told me, just ask them. Hair braiding, miss? So that's what I did. And when a customer was interested, I took her to my boss where they discussed the price. That's how I started in the world of braiding.
The salon is not only a place to look great. It is also a refuge from the outside world where women share stories and cultures.
The braiding shop is a place where people who come newly from Africa is a place where they can come and get used to the American culture, learn the American culture, and put their feet.
It is one of the few places where Africans and African Americans regularly mix.
The only place where we are able to actually come together as African American and African is the braiding shop. And the only place where, as African, we can actually have the opportunity to educate African American about our culture, about who we are, because when many times you find ourselves that people think you people live in the bush.
It's an opportunity for American women to meet African women and be able to learn about them, learn about their culture, where they're from, because otherwise there hadn't been those opportunities.
This job is not just about the money. It's about putting joy in people's heart. It's a positive energy that you can give to someone who is depressed. It helped me learn about other people and other cultures. Every time I braid, I discover something new.
Do you have those scissors for the $3.99 one?
Yeah. So Ben has been coming here for more than like 15 years actually. He's kind of like family. I don't feel any hesitation. I'm very confident in being able to send my customers over there and they're going to be treated well. He helps me, I help him. Like he tells me, Christine, you got to put this product because you know this works really well. Because sometimes we don't know either.
Braiding is not just about beauty. Some women are turning to the style for health reasons.
So many people, even they go to the doctor tells them stop putting chemicals.
I've always been used to having thick, long hair. And within the last months, I have had cancer. So the braiding, it helps me to keep my hair, to keep maintaining and to keep it growing and just to keep stuff out of it. I can wear it in different styles. It helps me more than harms me, more than any other hairstyle I get. That's about it. When my hair is done, it makes me feel better.
Bonjour les garçons.
Hello boys, wake up. How are you?
Every summer, Salion's children come from Paris to visit their naturalized American father.
Tu veux ça? Oh.
Ça? Peut-être.
Oui. Oh non, non, ça.
Online, they talk every day to their youngest brother and their mother in Paris.
This is my fourth child, my fourth son.
J'aime tresser ma propre femme.
I love braiding my wife's hair because it is fun. She does not really like her hair being pulled. It hurts her.
On tire ses cheveux.
So when I joke with her and pull it gently, we laugh about it. I often tell her, okay, today is Sunday. I'll braid your hair differently today, not like the others. So these moments, the time spent together for 2 or 3 hours, it's like part of our marriage. So hair braiding for me is a way to flirt with my wife. I met my wife when we were very young. She's hard of hearing, but this is what made me want to talk to her. I wanted to understand what she was saying. She lives today in France, and I'm in the United States. But I do not take any decision without consulting her. And God blessed us with 4 boys.
9 in the morning and time for work.
But no, King twist is 160, the short length. But when you take a 170, it's a long one, like you said, the middle of your back. Okay, 170 hair include.
It's a 24/7 business. That's how it is in America.
Tell me some celebrities in America. We in France, we have Griezmann.
We have Pogba.
No.
We have Michael Jordan.
Salion spends part of the year in France where his wife is waiting to complete her U.S. immigration process. While they are waiting, he introduces his children to the American way of life. Braiding increasing popularity among celebrities in sports, music, and film offers greater opportunities for braiders such as Salion, who includes among his clients the Guinean musician Oumou Djoubate.
At the time, I was organizing baptisms, weddings and concerts, and Salion used to braid my hair and other women's hair. He did that up until he opened his own hair braiding salon in the United States.
In Africa, braids represent social rank or the celebration of important cultural events. But in the United States, braids have more traditionally been associated with revolt against racial injustice and with reaffirmation of African Americans' connection to Africa. That makes them a potent symbol for many Americans. Pamela Farrell was an amateur hair braider in Washington, D.C. in the early 1980s. She remembers well the day when her boss at her day job told her to remove her braids.
He told me that I could not wear my braided hairstyle there. It was not appropriate for his clientele. I cried because I knew it was wrong. I knew my hairstyle was beautiful. And I decided that I was going to braid so many heads that this would never happen to anyone else again. Then I decided, okay, I'm going to open a business. And when I opened the business, I got a phone call from DC government telling me I had to shut down my business because I didn't have a cosmetology license. I opened a salon for social justice. I was fighting to make sure that African American women could go to their jobs wearing their hair braided, twisted, locked, or natural. And then that was the first fight. And then the second fight was that they could open up salons. Because around the country, you know, they made it illegal to braid hair without a cosmetology license.
Today, Pamela continues the fight to protect hair braiders. Her book, Where Beauty Touches Me, celebrates the diversity of braiding and its affirmation of the African aesthetic. This manual for families wishing to embrace the hairstyles of contemporary African beauty is so central to the contemporary identity that it is now sold at the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. Despite those advancements, there are still challenges to being a professional hair braider in the United States. In New York, for example, braiding without a license is punishable by a $2,500 fine.
It's not easy for us. The government is asking us for licenses. Many women hide because they do not have the license.
In Maryland, local hair braiders banded together to block their state from enacting similar licensing laws. Julie Wakaria is a founding member of the Maryland Hair Braiders Association.
It started 3 years ago, where the African American salon owners decided to go to the Maryland House of Delegates and have them pass a law that will make the braider go to school for 1,500 hours, which didn't make any sense to anybody.
They moved quickly to lobby state lawmakers at Maryland's House of Delegates.
The law was going to be passed on a Friday. We had it on Wednesday. We woke up. We decided we walk around and mobilize with phone call everywhere to every braiding shop we could get and try to mobilize people to go to the House of Delegates. We presented our case to the delegate. At the end, they were like, oh, we don't know what is that. What is braiding? We don't know what is it. Because, I mean, they really didn't have no idea. So they couldn't pass the law.
We decided not to do the bill because it would have foreclosed a lot of economic opportunity for immigrants. We were trying to regulate something that we really didn't understand, the cultural, the techniques, the safety procedures that are put in that really make this type of regulation unnecessary. Now you have lawmakers that are more well-informed, and frankly, as long as I'm in office, I'm going to fight any sort of attempt to regulate that industry based on the conversations that I had at that town hall, which was tremendously enlightening and invigorating, frankly.
Julie Wakaria says hair braiders themselves have health challenges, including long hours standing with their heads constantly bowed down and the repetitive movement of their fingers.
Many braiders have problem with the neck.
This Senegalese twist, this is messing up our heads. Everybody is getting capitulum.
Je peux faire 12 heures.
I can work 12 hours a day. During these 12 hours, I stand on my feet almost half the time. And that depends on the style of the braid. But in general, I'm standing. And that has a toll on my back and my chest, those muscles there.
Like many jobs with long hours, there is also the challenge of balancing family life.
Tu peux rester là du matin jusqu'à 16 heures.
I come to work in the morning and leave at 4 p.m. Let's say a client comes in at 4 p.m. and wants a $120 hairstyle, and I've been here all day without a single client. I rent a chair in the salon and owe rent to the owner, so I stay and take the client. Even the owner has to pay her girls per week, take care of her rent, cable, and other bills. So yes, you take the client. And if you take a client at 4 p.m. for a 4 or 5 hour session, what time will you finish? What time will you be home in order to cook and take care of the kids?
There's never enough time for my personal life. I'm always here. I'm always tired. It's not easy. I cannot even travel because of business, even though I have an assistant. I'm always here. I can't leave the business, so that's that.
Being a hair braider presents unique challenges for men, where many African cultures judge it to be effeminate or religiously objectionable. Salion's family remembers the mockery he endured.
It was under this tree that he used to braid our hair and ignore the people who would call him man-woman. But Salian never got upset or angry. He would tell them, I would rather be a woman than a thief or a drug addict. This will allow me to get married and build a house.
Here in Mali, it was frowned upon for a man to do braids. And in our religion, it was considered a sin. I argued a lot with him. I even beat him one day because of that.
At first, I was told that it was a curse for a boy to braid hair, which made me have some doubts. Does my religion accept this profession? I kept questioning myself, even when I was learning how to braid and starting my own business.
In Islam, women should not expose their bodies to strangers. Having a Muslim man braid a woman's hair is a delicate issue because he's a stranger touching her hair. But there are no texts in the Quran that forbids or authorizes men to do that. There are none. It does not exist in the Quran. If the individual respects himself, is the breadwinner in his family, and does that job while being professional, I would say yes. Yes, he can.
Is that the same color as that?
Yeah.
You sure?
I think this is better. For
me, a good customer is a woman who knows what she wants, who is not difficult to braid. And when I suggest some changes, she reacts positively.
It's something pulling right here, right here. What's this? Hot dang it.
What is it, hurt?
Yeah, you bet it does. But that's the pain you gotta take with the beauty. And it's my first time getting Kiki twist. Okay, what's this in the back of my head? What's that? What's that? What's that? Oh. Oh. Oh, God. I'm gonna need a big aspirin after this. Looking beautiful is painful and expensive.
And why do you still do it?
Because I like to look beautiful, and I'm priceless. Who? Jesus, who on this head right here? Who on here? Who right here? Who right here? Somebody right here on the brain. On the equilibrium. My cubicle vortex is not functioning right now.
I collaborated with African American salon owners and taught them how to braid African style. And they showed me the African American techniques in return. The styles that you would see during slavery, how slaves used to braid. They taught me that, and I incorporated it into the African braiding style. The results have made my salon very successful.
Hello, African Hair Braiding, can I help you?
Hair braiding made me thrive. It helped me buy a house here, buy a car, invest in my country, and bring my family and my brothers here.
Papa, la pizza.
C'est fini?
Did you eat it all?
Mon papa.
My dad passed away when I was 5. My mom had to work long hours to raise us. She used to drop us off at our uncles and aunts. We grew up with different families because she couldn't support us financially by herself. It's thanks to braiding that I was able to give back to my mom, give her a good life, a life fit for a queen. To my friends who laughed at me when I was little, I would like to say to them today, your teasing encouraged me to be better. The little boy has become a great hair braider. My only advice to any parent or anyone who sees someone doing something out of the ordinary is to never make fun of them. There are no foolish jobs, there are only foolish people.
Men or women, African hair braiders in the United States are unanimous. Despite economic challenges and restrictions on immigration, they are full of hope and courage, pursuing the American dream, one braid at a time.
Io Malisa jo ba fila be malibasa jo. Ah Malisa jo ba fila be Malisa. Malisa jo ba fila be Malisa. Ah Malisa jo ba fila be Malisa. Malisa jo ba fila be malibasa jo. Nko che dala kanuke, che lana kanuke, che ni che bala kanuke, bi korote la kaniola. Muso bara kanuke, muso bara kanuke, muso ni muso dala kanuke, bi korote la kaniola. Ali korote kanimena bi mogori korosi kanuna. Korote kanumena bi mogoye korosi la kanuna. Muso di la kanunke, muso da la kanunke, muso niche bara kanunke bi koroye la kaniola.
Is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Well, many thanks for joining us on Plus News Update. I am Justin Akadonye. The governor of Niger State, Abubakar Bello, has described as rumored the purported release of abducted students and members of staff of Government Science College, Kagara. Bello spoke on Friday at the Government House in Minna, the state capital, shortly after meeting renowned Islamic scholar Sheikh Abubakar Gumi. On his meeting with Gumi, the governor said the state is ready to engage any actor who is willing to assist with the rescue of the abducted persons. Meantime, popular Islamic scholar Sheikh Gumi has urged the federal government to give bandits willing to make peace blanket amnesty if the current security situation must be tackled. The Islamic scholar disclosed this on Friday while addressing journalists in Minna, Niger state capital. This was after the cleric visited the camp of some bandits operating in Niger state. He explained that some of the complaints of the bandits are that they were being killed and maimed unjustly. While speaking concerning his discussion during his secret visits to the bandit, Sheikh Gumi said there is a positive response from the bandits who are holding the Kagara school students and their staff captive. He, however, did not state if the students have been released. The Gumi's comment come a few days after gunmen gained access to Government Science College, Kagara Rafi local government area of Niger State around 2 a.m. and abducted scores of students, teachers, and many others.
I'm here to continue my mission of trying to see we have peace, absolute peace in the whole Nigeria. Talking to the herdsmen, trying to listen to their grievances and see how we can stop this mayhem and carnage that is happening in the country.
So, sir, what's the outcome with them, sir?
Yes, the outcome is very positive because if you have warring factions and each faction is saying that I have complaints and grievances, which are very simple, basic things, I think there is hope that is coming to an end.
Yes, sir, what's their major complaints, sir?
Usually simple things. We are persecuted, we are arrested, we are lynched. And we are doing that.
What is your recommendation to the federal government?
Federal government is they should come and do to them exactly what they do to the Niger Delta militants. Give them a blanket amnesty. Then, if somebody will continue, then we deal with it.
Now, former Minister of Education, Obi Ezekwesili, has alleged that there is a strange incestuous relationship between government and abductors. Ezekwesili, he wrote on Twitter, said the relationship had enabled the industry of abduction to flourish. She lamented that the friendship with abductors is being thrown in the face of citizens by those in authority. In another post, the former minister quoted a statement that bandits deserve sympathy, which was made by the governor of Zamfara State, Bello Matawale. Protesting residents of Ovia Northeast local government area of Edo State have stormed Government House, Benin, with the body of one of the 7 persons killed in their area by criminal herdsmen. The protesters also gave Governor Godwin Obaseki a 3-day ultimatum to ensure adequate security of lives and property. They revealed that they brought the body to Government House because policemen in their area only told them to deposit the body in the morgue. The protesters stated in the last few weeks that they had experienced frequent killings of innocent residents of the area by rampaging herdsmen. Now, 7 persons were killed by criminal herdsmen in the farming communities of Uboke, Oshodi, Okokodo, Arian, and Yoruba camp in the local government area. Now, Chairman of the People's Democratic Party Committee on Electoral Reforms and Constitutional Amendment, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, says, with the right political will in place, Nigeria can have state police within 10 days. He said this in an address during the inauguration of the committee at the PDP National Headquarters in Abuja. Ekweremadu said there was a general consensus that the current centralized system of policing has failed woefully. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has placed Nigeria at moderate risk of Ebola outbreak as Guinea battles the contagion. The NCDC made this known via its website, stating that the decision was based on the proximity of Guinea to Nigeria and other West African countries, as well as other indicators. Guinea experienced outbreak of the Ebola on February 14, and cases and deaths were reported in the Nzerekore region of the country. The cases were detected among 7 people who had attended the burial of a nurse on February 1, according to the NCDC. Now, following the declaration of the outbreak, the Guinean government has initiated response activities. And in other parts of Africa, now, the number of confirmed cases of the Ebola virus disease in the Democratic Republic of Congo has reached 6, with 2 people having died. The new outbreak of Ebola started in DR Congo in early February. The Ebola virus is transmitted to humans from wild animals and is estimated by the World Health Organization to have a 50% fatality rate. Ebola is named after the DR Congo's Ebola River, near which the virus was discovered by Belgian microbiologist Peter Piat and his team in 1976. Gunmen and rockets have exploded in Mogadishu, or gunfire rather, in Mogadishu as Somali government forces clashed with protesters angered by delayed elections, hours after fighters loyal to the government and to the political opposition exchanged gunfire. Video sent from anti-government demonstration showed civilians in face masks waving Somali flags scattering as gunfire erupted. The spillover of political rivalries into open conflict will dismay Somalia's allies and play into the hand of the Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab insurgency, which mounts attacks on civilians around East Africa in its bid to install strict Islamic law. Judges from Finland are digging up witness testimonies in Liberia and are touring the north of the country for a landmark trial against a warlord accused of committing atrocities in Liberia's civil war. Jibril Masoki is accused of responsibility for war crimes and crimes against humanity between 1999 and 2003, including murder, rape, and using child soldiers. Masoki, 51, a former senior member of the Revolutionary United Front, has lived in Finland since 2008 but was arrested in March after a rights NGO investigated his record during the Civil War. The investigations could set a precedent as few have faced trial for war crimes committed in Liberia. In a historic move, the Finnish judges are also hearing evidence on Liberian soil, the first time war crime proceedings have taken place in the country. And outside Africa, the United Nations Human Rights Office has asked the United Arab Emirates for proof that Princess Latifa, the daughter of Dubai's ruler, is alive. In secretly recorded video shared with the BBC, Princess Latifa accused her father of holding her hostage in Dubai since she tried to flee in 2018. The United Nations has contacted David Hay from the Free Latifa campaign requesting access to the footage. In the videos, Princess Latifa says she fears for her life. The footage, released by France and aired by BBC Panorama earlier this week, prompted global calls for a UN investigation. A young woman protester in Myanmar who was shot in the head last week as police tried to disperse a crowd has died. Mia Twate King, who just turned 20, had been on life support since being taken to hospital on February 9 after she was hit by what doctors said was a live bullet at a protest in the capital, Naypyidaw. Hospital staff carried her body in a body bag into a waiting van to be taken to a morgue. She is the only protester to be killed since Myanmar's army seized power on February 1 and detained elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi. A business news now. The federal government says it is set to launch a nationwide agricultural program called Green Imperative that will transform agriculture nationwide. Senior Special Assistant to the President, Muhammad Buhari, on agriculture, Andrew Kwasari, spoke to newsmen in Abuja, saying the program will promote mechanization in agriculture and encourage local agro-processing. Kwasari says the program will also seek to solve challenges which bedevil farmers, especially access to loans and cushioning high interest rate.
The Green Imperative will address two twin issues with agricultural modernization in Nigeria: provide mechanization and provide agro processing. And these two work hand in hand through what we call service centers, And these service centers will be created in each local government across the country to complement support to primary production through mechanization and value addition to agro-processing.
We expect equipment such as tractors and implements that can be used to serve the farmers in a particular community or local government. We are going to have a selection criteria, which is very important. This selection criteria will give you the leverage to know what exactly do you want in your service center. Even though we are trying to simplify things by saying that in area A, where we know it has comparative advantage of a particular crop, that will allow you to pick equipment that will be suitable for production of those kind of crops.
Now, the African Union says it is planning to set up a fund to finance the much-needed infrastructural facilities in the continent. Head of Infrastructure, Raila Odinga, said this will include the construction of much-needed roads, railways and power plants. Odinga said Africa is financially starved as far as the need for infrastructure development is concerned. Talks with the fund are going on, and the AU's experts are setting up the legal and financial structure for the infrastructure fund, which will be administered by the newly formed African Union Development Agency. He said this infrastructure is urgent for the realization of the AfCFTA, otherwise it is just going to remain on paper. Odinga also said it was critical to connect landlocked nations to ports on coastlines and complete missing links for transcontinental highways to facilitate the free flow of goods under the AfCFTA and lift people out of poverty. And in entertainment news, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have confirmed to Queen that they will not be returning as working members of the royal family, Buckingham Palace has said. The palace said of the decision by Prince Henry and Meghan in a statement, quote, "The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have confirmed to Her Majesty the Queen that they will not be returning as working members of the royal family. The honorary military appointments and royal patronages held by the Duke and Duchess will therefore be returned to Her Majesty before being redistributed among working members of the royal family." Sports news. Now, Russia's Daniil Medvedev overpowered Stefanos Tsitsipas this morning to make his fourth Australian Open final, where he will beat to stop world number one Novak Djokovic from clinching an unprecedented ninth title. The fourth seed proved far too strong for Greece's Tsitsipas, crushing him 6-4, 6-2, 7-5 in front of more than 7-5 top seed Djokovic, who has won all 8 finals he has played at Melbourne Park.
I got a little bit scared, I should say, and tight because it's a semi-final of a slam, and I mean, for us, it's not, I don't know, 50s like for Novak or Roger, so it was not easy, but I'm happy that I managed to turn my game on, especially in some tight moments on my serve, and really happy to be in the final. I played against Rafa in this US Open crazy match. He's experienced that maybe if we're going to have some crazy match, I can turn some things for me and not against me, and we're going to see Sunday. We cannot know before the match what's going to happen.
And sports does it for us on Plus News Update. For more updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. The news returns again at 4. I am Justin Akadonye. Many thanks for watching.
for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Cross Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Sites like these have become commonplace around Lagos, Nigeria's commercial hub. Street beggars looking pitiful, others stretching their hands, calling for alms or scuttling for limited meals or gifts handed them by gracious passers-by. However, Lagos does not seem alone in this. Ibadan, an ancient city in Oyo, southwest Nigeria, isn't left out. The pace-setter state also has a teeming number of beggars, many of them immigrants from Niger and Chad. Halima is a 37-year-old mother of this kid. Daily, she heads for the streets to make a living off street begging.
Some people they give me 10 and some people they give me 20 now, 15 now. So the bar is for Yoruba where they sell us.
She tells us that her street begging business pays off a lot in Nigeria.
Nigeria good. Nigeria they give us food, they give us clothes, they give us everything. Nigeria is fine, nothing in me. Nigeria is good. I don't stay in Nigeria 3 years.
Now back to Lagos at Jagunle precisely. A suburb dominated by low-income earning Nigerians is where we find Fatima, a 15-year-old who migrated from Bauchi and was introduced to a life of street begging by her auntie.
My mommy don't have money. The money where she don't have, where she give us to eat. She don't have money but put us for school. Why she come dey begging?
She is not alone. Her 54-year-old mom had also taken to street begging for survival. She recounts how tales of green pastures had made her migrate from her home state of Bauchi. She tells us her experience.
Da yara bakwai kuma ba da kuɗi shine masababin na taho Lagos. Har ne wannan shekaru ina nan Lagos.
Well, for this mother and daughter, an intervention made all the difference.
Ba ni da jari ne. Ba jari. Shine yasa nake yi kuma wannan oga shine yazo shi yace in daina yin bara in kama sana'a in bayar yara na biyu makaranta na bashi yara na wa'annan guda biyu makaranta.
Currently, the begging system in Nigeria is structured, in a way that these beggars are most times being imported from the north, to beg, and there are those who they remit to.
A 2013 survey posted by Science Direct indicated that the total population of beggars in Nigeria stood at 12.4 million persons as of 2013. The Northwest hosted 41.1%, the Northeast hosted 28.2%, the North Central hosted 12.9%, leaving Southern Nigeria, including the Southwest, the South-South, and the Southeast, with 17.8%. Today, Fatima is enrolled in a school, while her mum runs a petty trade.
Shekara ta 25 a nan Lagos. Ina zanne wannan ya ce shi wannan oga ya ce bara ba kyau. Na ce bara ba kyau oga ya ce yi. Sai na ce ni na barbara na kama sana'a. Sai ya ce ki ban yaranki makaranta. Shine yara na guda biyu na bashi makaranta suke zuwa makaranta. Yawwa. To kin ji mu garinmu muna Bauchi a ƙasar Bauchi muke kuma garinmu jama'are local. Jama'are local garinmu shekara ta 55. Yawwa. To yanzu dai muna nan muna maleji a nan kuma a cikin hakan nan ba mu samu jari ba jari. Ba mu da jari amma muna nan muna maleji.
They are thankful, but together they feel that street begging is wrong.
Make them find another work. That beg is no good.
Well, unfortunately, their gospel doesn't seem popular for these crop of beggars found on the other end of Lagos Island, Ajah precisely. For these ones, life seems to be about waking up each morning, hoping to get alms from sympathetic passers-by.
Gwamnati ta ce za ta iya mana, kuma gwamnati ba ta iya mana ba. Mun zo muna fama ga wahala, ga rana, ga yunwa ta ishi.
A cikin yaran mun da babanmu ya yi fani ne babba. Duk wanda suke bayana duk kanana ne ba su san komai ba. No, I know the bed. I know go bed. I know go bed. I will give my daddy. May put me for school.
Jigawa, wahala ce ta kawo mu, mijina ne ya mutu. Mijina ne ya mutu. Shi ne ya sa na zo ni. Ba kwan ne ya sa na zo ni ba. Nema na zo ni ci da bakina. Na sa na diba fa kaina. Ba ta iya Ingilishi ba. Wa diba kaina. Ba mu ni yunwa. Karata guda.
Some of these passers-by think that street begging constitutes a nuisance.
We Nigerians are the ones that are still making these guys be on the road. Okay. Normally, we should not give them money. We should stop giving them money. You understand? When we are giving them money, then we are supporting it. Okay. So when we stop giving them money, they will move.
Since they beg for, let's say, quite some time, and I think they should try and raise up something and delve into one business or the other rather than begging it.
Why do people take to street begging? We spoke to a psychologist.
Begging starts from environments where there's deprivation from basic amenities and where there's poverty. However, once the habit starts, it becomes a disease of the neural system where it becomes self-replicating. Once a person goes on the roadside and asks for alms, and that person's behavior finds expression, the normal way the brain works is that that habit or that behavior now becomes habitual. It's a self-replicating habit, you know. And so several people who tried the first time and they were able to get a few naira from that begging habit, they will be chasing that feeling. There's a feeling that comes from begging and getting someone to give you alms.
In Lagos, the number of child beggars and adult beggars, experts say, runs into over 1,000, as it would be recalled that earlier in 2020, some beggars numbering over 1,000 blocked the entrance to the Lagos State House of Assembly and the governor's office to protest against what they termed undue harassment and arrest by officials of the state government. With three northern states of Kano, Niger and Nasarawa recently banning street begging, the Lagos state government may not have officially banned street begging, but has constantly wasted no time to reiterate its position on the zero tolerance for street begging.
It's illegal. In Lagos, the law does not tolerate it. There is a law that is against street begging, and we are trying to enforce the law. We are actually enforcing the law because anybody who is caught doing street begging in Lagos is going to face prosecution. And if they are kids, they can be taken up the streets and taken to centers. If you are brought before a magistrate for begging, you can be fined up to 30,000 naira, or you can be sent to 1 year imprisonment.
Some schools of thought believe that if people were not given to street begging, there wouldn't be beggars on the streets.
We should give to beggars, but not those who have the capacity to work. If you want to look at it, you need to find what is the definition of a beggar. Is it somebody who is incapacitated, or is it somebody who has just chosen begging as a lifestyle? If it's somebody who has chosen begging as a lifestyle, no. But if it's someone who is incapacitated,
But if you go to other climes, they have people who are capacitated, but there's a way they are taken care of. If Nick was in Nigeria, he would have been a street beggar. But today, Nick is far richer than some industrialists in this nation. Why? Because there are nations that have provided some sort of support.
So what does religion say about street begging?
According to the Quran and the Hadith of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we are told that we should earn a living in the most legitimate way. So Islam does not encourage street begging, doesn't encourage begging at all. Yes, Islam encourages zakah and sadaqah, which is given to those people in need, but not to people that are able-bodied, that can actually work and earn a living. So we don't just, Islam does not encourage begging. Like training is a good place to start. Education, educating them to make them understand that even the Islamic religion, because you see that a lot of these people, they've been brainwashed thinking that it's okay. And even in Nigeria, because even now, we look at the people that are begging on the streets. People literally beg everywhere now, even on social media. You see people going on social media to beg in a way that maybe you call it a sophisticated kind of begging. So I think the first thing is education, to educate those people that it is not acceptable. Even the religion that they practice does not accept it. It's totally unacceptable.
Some people have made a life out of begging. No, that is not scriptural. The Bible said, he that does not walk should not eat. But let him, then secondly, let him that steals steal no more, so that he can walk, so he can have to give. So we are permitted to give to beggars, provided that, or let me put it this way, we should give to beggars who are incapacitated, not those who have the capacity to walk. If you've got the capacity to walk, go and walk.
The state government considers street begging as unlawful, but what is being done to contain it?
There are centers that they are being taken to any time they are caught doing that, and they are taken to those centers, and they are being fed there, they are being clothed there, and the government is totally responsible for their upkeep, so that nobody is encouraging a street begging. But anybody who is found taking off the streets 1 or 2, 3 times and is still doing it, the person may go to jail.
Can street beggars be rehabilitated?
I've worked with a particular person who had access to get a job years after begging, but because that has become habitual and that feeling is always, drives home that fulfillment, the person declined the job at the expense of a paying job, because the brain had been wired to get a reward for not doing anything. Yeah, they can be rehabilitated into the society by therapy and coaching. Therapy to help them alter that way of thinking, coaching to help them so that they can charge after the goals in an unstoppable manner. They certainly can be rehabilitated, but it takes work, and it takes the desire of that person to want to stop that habit. No matter how professional the therapist or the coach they're working with is, if they're not determined to leave, it will be difficult for us to ride on that energy and make them break free from that particular habit.
With governments at all levels working towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 1, which is ending poverty, we do hope that the number of street beggars in Lagos reduces remarkably.
The shelf life for anything liquid doesn't last more than 2 days.
There's no drug that is a bullet drug that does everything.
I'm going to see the women who are going to tell us more about the herbs and what they use the herbs to treat.
I have been selling these herbs since my teenage years. This was my parents' trade, which I continued after their death. I get my supplies from Dahomey, Benin Republic. My preparation for malaria is potent for 2 weeks. By observing my patients, I know what their health issues are. I can confidently tell you that these patients will have no reason to go back to the hospital.
I'm here to speak with another traditional medical specialist who claims to be proficient in the treatment of infertility. Join me as I go talk to her inside.
People refer to me as the one who can do what the doctors cannot do. I treat men and women who find it difficult to have children of their own. I also help treat women whose children die at birth. I prevent such from reoccurring. For men with low sperm counts, I make marks on their penises with a sharp blade and then apply my concoctions on their cots. This will enable them give birth to as many children as they want. Actually, some of these treatments require occultic powers. Not at all. My preparations do not have any side effects. After taking a cup of this concoction, the patient will have a mild stomach disturbance, after which he will be okay.
Some questions ensued in my mind. Do any of these herbal medicines work? Are they really curative? Can they provide what orthodox medicines can't? Although many doubt the efficacy of this kind of medication, a lot of people also give positive testimonies to their use of herbal medication.
When I started to have problems with it, it would take me about 6 hours before I can use it. Painful 8 hours. I want to relate, but the urine does not come out. I will be crying. At this time, I was not myself. I was between 8 and 11. I was afraid. I don't want to do operation. In that December, when the Luke doctor, they went aside, and there was no treatment again. So I had to come back home.
I was curious to know if he got any treatment before the hospital went on strike.
I was tested whether I have enough pressure in my bladder to get the urination. I was tested to see whether my kidney is working, and that kidney test took almost 1 day. They inserted cardigan for me again, just to ease my urination. But that did not solve the problem of prostate itself.
Having left the hospital as a result of the strike, he said he had to get an alternative means of treatment, which was in form of herbal medication from an Alhaji, introduced to him by his daughter.
At that time, he was in London. I could remember he was speaking to me when he was abroad at that time. So they prepared the solution, and my daughter here would go and carry it and bring it home. And they would tell me, take this in the morning, in the afternoon, and the evening. So when I started, after 1 week, I started to take the medication. It will reduce to 6 hours, 4 hours, second day or third day, 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes. And one day I just found that the urine just came out. And since then, I had no problem. I've been coming out. I'm happy to say that I'm still living. I'm not dead.
After listening to this testimony, I was eager to see the herbal practitioner who treated him. He claimed to have trained in China, South Africa, and is registered under the Lagos State Traditional Medicine Board.
I got my ingredients in Oyo State, while my factory is in Lagos State.
When asked how he diagnoses his patients, he had this to say.
The first thing is that we send them to go and do the test. We have somebody that interprets the laboratory test. After the test, we have file, we have card. It's like hospital. After that, they will give the appointment.
I was impressed with the mode of herbal medicine operation and level of organization. But unlike Yusuf, there are more of street hawkers with little or no professional training. It was expedient to speak with the buyers of these herbal concoctions by the roadside who buy from roadside sellers and hawkers. These roadside sellers have not gone through the proper training and do not package their herbs. I took a long road trip to Ajah, Lagos in Nigeria to meet with Mama Okpe and some of her customers I met there. I saw an array of herbal concoctions and was curious to know what they were, what they do, and how she purifies them.
I treat JD, waist pain, malaria, typhoid, gonorrhea, infection, and ulcer. This one for infection. This is malaria and typhoid for the oats. This is JD and waist pain. This is Afatol with manpower. This is typhoid.
According to her, she adds either alcohol or water to her concoctions and gave her reasons.
Agbo no dey spoil, but the one why they put us, they stay long past the one wey they put water. But the water own, we get something where you go put inside, say na water, so that if you reach like 3 months, 6 months, no go do anything. They call am kafura pelebe. When I buy this agbo, when I go carry am from our children, they carry am come. All the sand wey dey inside, I don take boiling water to wash it before I put it inside ragolis.
Her very excited customers were quite eager to share their experiences.
I can't drink JD because of my wife. That yesterday night, me and my wife fight because of that thing. My wife can't touch that thing. The thing, you know, wake up. You understand? Then I can't say, make no worry. He say, tomorrow, I can't drink JD. Now he carry me come here. Since that time where I carry gonorrhea, I first go hospital first. You understand? After I go hospital first, the thing relieve me. But the thing, you know, go. Now I can't make that, mama. Now you can't give me another agbo. After I use the agbo, everything don't go.
I love to take agbo almost every evening. There was a time I was feeling down for days and I've been constantly taking the agbo. But I think the typhoid was so, it has eaten deep into my body. It didn't work out. Like I left this place, I took the agbo. Instead of it to suppress the pains, and it got worse and I had to visit hospital immediately. So it's just like a preventive measure before it eats deep to the body.
There was a time I was feeling ill, so then I have not started taking agbo. I had to go down to a chemist because I was having headache. The chemist worker just had to give me a Panadol. After giving me the Panadol, I wasn't feeling too well. It was as if I took something illegal like tramadol. And since then, I haven't been taking English medicine.
There is no fake agbo, but there is fake drug. All herbs, they are just nothing but plant extracts. And I prefer this to drug in the sense that drug, after extraction, they still need to add preservatives, which they have effect on the body as well on their own. But this one is direct plant extracts.
In Africa here, we have a lot of mosquitoes. I don't have to let the malaria break me down if I run down to Mama's place to take agbo. So I usually come here twice a week to have those prevention. All these are roots soaked in an alcohol, you understand, for you to take it. Why would I want to take an NSC that is not medicinal when I can always take this that is medicinal?
Although Mama Okpe has 10 years experience, she said she still had rules regarding her sale of the herbal concoctions.
Some they carry small pikin come here. They say maybe my pikin no, he never shit since when I born am like 8 days. I go say carry and go hospital, cannot treat it. Because if I give am Agbo now, anything can happen.
To my surprise, I met corporately dressed men who expressed their satisfaction with the intake of these herbal concoctions locally known as Agbo, but refused to be interviewed. Some of them shared their reservations.
The problem I just have with herb is there is no particular dosage. You can take overdose and you can take below dosage.
In most cases, we just get to the Agbo streets and we've been served. We don't know the kind of water that is being prepared with, but I've been treated with it, and it works.
More clarity was necessary on various types of herbal practitioners, such as the woman interviewed in Makoko, Mama Ope, Dr. Yusuf, and others seen selling by the roadside.
Nowadays, medicine have gone beyond the local one. In as much that doctors can call themselves pharmacy and medical. We have in our one, we have ethnomedicine and ethnopharmacy. Ethnomedicine are the people that use herbs to cure ailment, while ethnopharmacy are those that use herbs, that are herb sellers, and not everywhere.
With all of the information gotten, I was curious to know the opinion of orthodox doctors on this subject.
Herbal products have been with us for centuries, and our forefathers have used those drugs before modern medicine came into being. And most people have used these drugs, gotten better. But the big challenge is that who administered these drugs, who diagnoses this problem in the first place, the dosages, the frequency, the impurities, and all that.
He didn't disintegrate the efficacy of the herbal medications, but was concerned about the crude content.
Though these herbal drugs may have their own efficacy, depending on what they are treating, but they are also contaminants. For instance, if somebody picks up a plant to use to treat, is it the whole plant that is important in the therapy or some part of the plants? So impurities and contaminants to be removed from this so that the adverse effects or side effects will not be included in the treatment of this.
Having spoken to Dr. Ekre, I went on to see a pharmacognosist at the University of Lagos. I'm here at the Faculty of Pharmacy in the University of Lagos to consult with Dr. Dada, who has been a pharmacognosist for over 20 years.
Herbal medicine generally is more of preventive than being curative.
When I asked her how her patients are being diagnosed, she said she uses a quantum magnetic resonance body analyzer to test her patients.
A lot of people are sick, they don't know. When they come, we assess their health status. We have an equipment to that effect that we use, which is quantum resonance. It will let us know the states, the different organs of the body are, so that we know the type of help or assistance that we can advise and give them. And the herbal drug they can use, we let them know. We don't force it on them. So if they willingly agree, then they buy from us.
Inquiring about how and where they get their ingredients, we were taken to the university's botanical garden, where some of their ingredients were gotten.
We have located where some of them are growing in our environment, and we go there to collect, especially in Akoka. Many of them are growing within the botanical garden. This one is Camellia catapa. It's one of the ingredients for our antioxidant C. It has a lot of antioxidant properties. Then this one is Imbodia levis, one of the ingredients for the anti-stress. We collect them fresh here before we take them to the lab to process. The ones that we cannot get within the environment, we have what we call collector that we send to go and collect wide for us. They go to where they are growing naturally and collect. The type of purification we do is you make sure there is no microbial contamination, you make sure that there is no foreign substances there, and the official level that is permissible is always stated. Once it is within that permissible level, your drug is okay, and that is what we call standardization. Our products are as a result of research. We do all these things. We use animals, experimental animals, to see the effect of the drug first before we start production. So while we are treating the animals, where we are using the animals in the experimental stage, we use different doses to see which one will be effective. So it is from there we select dose. So we don't use arbitrary dose, because dosage is very important too in whatever you are doing.
She also showed me some of their locally made herbal teas.
We have anti-stress tea. Because of the environment we are, Lagos, where you have a lot of stress, and that is one of our fast-moving products, anti-stress tea. We have antioxidants. Antioxidant is very important in any living thing because it prevents a lot of disease from occurring. So that's another very moving product we have, antioxidants. We have brain tonic. A lot of people, especially with age, are losing memory. So this enhances memory.
However, she re-emphasized on not recommending herbal medicine for emergency cases.
We don't usually use herbal remedy for emergency. When you have emergency, the orthodox medicine may be more appropriate. But if it is not emergency, I will go for the herbal. And the reason is that herbal medicine are naturally made, and they go well. They are friendly with the body because being nature to nature, you don't have much side effects as you normally have with orthodox medicine, because orthodox medicine are synthesized and produced in the laboratory using different chemicals, and many of these chemicals people have discovered that they are causing a lot of side effects.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
10 years. When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
When I heard him, I didn't know he was a sickler until last year. Though at birth, from birth till like age 2, he was always getting sick, always leg pain, my hand and everything. We did a genotype test, then they told us it was AA. So we didn't even think it was sickle cell anemia. So once he clocked 2, he stopped having crisis. So we continued like that until last year. It was a mistake. It was during the exam, he now started serious, couldn't breathe properly again. Though naturally, he's always been on no matter what he eats, he doesn't add weight. But for him, I knew from birth that he was a sickler.
Some of my own experience are the hand pain. The hand pain, I've never experienced the hand pain. I only experienced it once after all the pains were gone. But the chest thing was the first I started experiencing.
When there is a deformity in this oxygen carrying capacity of the blood, that is, there is a deformity in the red blood cells. This oxygen capacity, carrying capacity, it becomes abnormal. It can no longer hold. Now, what we call sickling, that word sickle cell comes from sickling of the red blood cells. The red blood cell is by concave, And when it is now sickled, its corpse is sickled. You know what, like a sickle? That means the capacity, the ability to carry oxygen is reduced.
There are a lot of challenges, but I will go with, growing up having sickle cell is one of the most difficult things ever. And I believe also that surviving sickle cell is dependent on how the warrior has been treated.
Living with it in your school days, you have to know how to survive. Sometimes you miss classes, you miss exams because you're having a crisis. Sometimes you have to, the relationship between your family and friends becomes, there's this strain, especially if you don't have a patient family, that really understand what sickle cell is.
I was exposed to a lot of medications, a lot of treatments, a lot of prayer houses, a lot of deliverance sessions. So, being a child, you have no option. You just have to go with whatever your parents say.
Whenever any person has had sickle cell and there is manifestation, then what we can do is to now treat or prevent them from having crisis. So there is one thing to have sickle cell, another thing is to have crisis from the sickle cell. This crisis is derived oxygen to the blood cells.
Malaria is something that actually brings my own crisis and blood infection, the usual typhoid that they call. If it starts with my limbs, I know malaria is around the corner. But if it starts with my vertebral column, I know that this could be blood infection.
What makes me know that, okay, probably I'm going into crisis is that I start feeling a bit tired, a bit weak. Then I start feeling these pinches, on my body. I started having crisis even before we knew it was sickle cell. So I've been living with I'm 35 now. So let me say for 35 years.
There are times I don't go to work for like a month, sometimes 2 months, as long as the crisis lasts. But thank God for the kind of people I work with. They tend to understand with me. It's financially burdensome. Your work, if you don't have good people working with you, it affects that too. And some people, there are some instances where you lose a job.
I wouldn't say it has been easy for with the siblings and him as well. Most times when we are on break and we get to witness him during the crisis, it is always heartbreaking and a tough one to see, to be honest.
There are many complementary remedies. So many people have tried different things. But we know, scientists, that the major cure for sickle cell is red cell transplant, bone marrow transplant. Go down and transplant the progenitor cells, and transplant it so that they will now start producing the new cells, the newborn cells that carries oxygen better than the adult regular cells. So that's the major treatment. The other complementary measures are just palliative people have tried. Well, for scientifically, we have also used hydroxyurea, one of these medications.
And the stigma starts from home sometimes, right? That's from the family. And of course, they will think you're different. And this brings about conflicts between, sometimes they even say it's the woman's fault, right, for bringing forth a child with sickle cell. So there's this conflict between a household.
The stigma is still there. Now, what did you do now? Why didn't you do blood tests before at the point you're telling somebody this was going on, it's not as if you've not actually blamed yourself for what happened enough, but they're still telling you you should have known better.
Someone has told me that if you die, you are not the only child. Okay, I don't know if you get the message that was being passed, like you cry so much. Every time it's all about you, every time you're always sick and all that kind of. I didn't cause this for myself.
The first time that I told them that I was a sickle cell, but they didn't believe me until my mommy told them that I was actually a sickle cell. That's when they not believed me. They apologized for laughing, then they not started treating me nicely.
I've been in a relationship where the parent told the person I was going out with that they don't live longer. There's no hope in getting married to this person, and they wouldn't want their child to go into a short marriage.
Some of it are, let's start with our cultural and religious beliefs that this is not a genetic problem. They don't see it as a medical problem. They see it as spiritual in Africa. So these are the kind of things we want people to know, that this is a medical condition and can be managed. When you give birth to a child and the child is always falling sick, high fever, always crying and all that, automatically people will think that, okay, the child is possessed. Some people believe that it is contagious. Before all the medical interventions, children die before the age of 5, not because it's spiritual, but because there's lack of hospital care and proper drugs. But with hospital care and proper drugs now coming into play, there's a bit of improvement, and warriors can live to 90 years.
So the parents need to be educated that if their genotype does not match for to use at least AS or AA, they should not go ahead and marry.
I am still blessed. There's a lot of pain associated with it, but I'm still thankful. You know what I'm saying? I'm still grateful. I mean, regardless of everything, I still have someone who was able to kind of, damn the consequences and say, okay, yo, forget about what other girls have said. I'm going to marry you, regardless of what they've said. I'm going to take a risk on you. And she did. And I got married, and I have 2 kids.
For me, it has helped me to build a lot of positivity. Because I've been surrounded by so many negativity. I just had to develop it. But then, you can be stronger than anything that is thrown at you by life. If you choose to be strong. If you let situation, you don't have to be a victim all the time.
For children with sickle cell, your life is still ahead of you. You can be anything in life. There is no limit to how far you can get to.
Another abduction in Nigeria as gunmen storm Kagara, Niger State, and abduct school children. And PDP governors charge federal government to decentralize the police. Well, this is Plus Politics, and I am Mary Anna Combs. Armed men have attacked Government Science College Kagara in Rafi local government area of Niger State. At least 1 student was feared killed, while 27 students, 3 members of staff and 12 family members of the college were abducted by the gunmen. Discussing this with me today is security expert Dennis Amakri. Thank you very much, Mr. Amakri, for joining us.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So, of course, this is yet another abduction. We just were happy, just rejoicing a few months ago that the Kankara boys were returned home safely. And now this. And one would wonder, really, is this becoming a routine thing for these so-called bandits?
I think we are not approaching this issue properly. Because Kankara boys came, they were rescued, and then now we have another Kangara boys again. And the reason why they are doing all this is because of the cachet of bandits that are around in the country, in ungoverned spaces, trying to make money out of the Nigerian government. And I think it's high time we face this. Before we were talking about service chiefs. Now,
people, if we do know where they are and we know who they are, because I remember clearly that a presidential spokesperson said that we cannot really give these bands, tag them terrorists or proscribe them because we don't know who they are and they're not under an umbrella per se. So, but you're telling us that we know them and we know where they are. So what's the challenge?
Yeah, whichever spokesman is saying that is not being honest. You know, I think we've gone beyond the level where in Nigeria we will start beating around the bush or trying to play politics with security. I don't like people playing politics with security. These are bandits. Sheikh Gumi went and met them in 2 camps. Well, in one camp, they have 700 persons. With fully, why should we accommodate them? So I think with the new service chiefs now, I'm happy the IGP has already formed Operation POF ADA 2 to go into ungoverned spaces. And I think this is the time for them to do it. Flush these guys out.
There seems to, like you said, you call them ungoverned spaces. Are we supposed to have those in the country? I mean, we know that there are, yeah.
There are many of them.
Exactly. So why do we still have these spaces, knowing what we know from when Boko Haram had been attacking and then the federal government saying that we have been able to take over all of these states? Why do we still have these ungoverned spaces? I always keep asking security operatives this question. How do we let outsiders come into a country as big as Nigeria, as powerful as we are, to terrorize our people, and then we still find a way to pay these bandits to leave us alone? Does this not mean that we are showing them our weakness and allow to map out those areas to cover these ungoverned spaces so that we can find out where these people go in and out from?
You know, you are very, very correct. That why are we still having these ungoverned spaces? We have these ungoverned spaces because, number one, we have governors who are actually hobnobbing with these guys. There are pictures and videos of governors in the northern states who are having meetings with all these bandits. We have the Kaduna State governor who was paying them before to stay away. And now that they are not staying away, he is all for it that we should flush them out. You know, so we have all these people who are coming out from all kinds of countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea, Niger, to come into Nigeria. Now, why are they coming here when other countries are also available? They can't go to Ghana. They can't go to Benin Republic, which is a smaller country than Nigeria, because those countries don't want to deal with them. In Ghana, they are ready to fight them out of the country. But in Nigeria, we are so lackadaisical, our borders are so porous, and then they come in and do whatever they want to do. So this is the problem that we are facing.
I want to dig deeper into this. I've visited many borders in this country that are not in any way policed. And there are several of these borders. And every time we have occurrences such as this, or we have issues of terrorism, we now remember that we have borders that are under-policed. But then once that phase rolls over, we move on like business as usual. Itself was dilapidated, and then there was a fence that was broken down, so those people were able to come in through those places. So this is a replica of what's happening in Nigeria. So we have places that are open to these people to come in, but then we cannot talk to the guys who are in customs, the immigrations. Why is there no concerted effort? I'm talking from the presidency down to all of these people. The president, I mean, the ball stops at Mr. President's table, whether we like it or not. And these people work for him. One of the reasons why I'm guessing Nigerians gave Mr. President this opportunity to be a president is because he was a former general. I mean, we're hoping that we wouldn't have to deal with things like this. So is it that Mr. President is not serious about the issue of security in this country, or does he not just simply care?
Well, he came into power saying that security is one of the major pillars that he's going to deal with. But anyway, as president, he's not going to do everything. Because when you look at the country, there are governors. Nobody's talking about the governors. There are local government chairmen. Nobody's talking about those chairmen. They are busy taking their money and security votes and